What word in English holds the world's record with more than 430 different definitions? Then how do we tie that into brand voice? I'll tell you in a second. So we got a fun fact today, and I'm going to show you how to whip this into 3 different emails and 3 different voice types. Today's fun fact of the day is the word set holds the record in the Oxford English Dictionary for having the most meanings of any English word. It has over 430 distinct definitions across its various uses as a noun, verb, and adjective. That's a lot of definitions. So how do we turn this into a hook for an email about brand voice? Well, I'm going to show you. The first voice that we're going to do is Underdog. The Underdog is a voice of outlook, meaning that it leads with its viewpoint, and it has sort of a lower status. It's us versus them type of approach. It's fighting for change. It has sort of a longer cadence, sometimes more of a downtrodden, more of a somber tone, but not always. The main thing is that it's fighting against the bigger enemy. So, using the fact that set has more than 430 definitions, how do we turn that into a hook? It might sound something like this. Language can be tricky. There are so many different definitions, and all of us are interpreting words in different ways. So sometimes you might be writing something that's perfect. It might be exactly what someone asked for. It might tick all of the boxes. The problem is they're the wrong boxes. They look the same, but they're slightly different shapes. They have different sets. And I say that because the word set has 430 definitions. It can mean anything from a tool set, a tennis set, set your clock, set up something, set down something, set a broken bone, set the table. There's so many different ways. It could be a noun, it could be a verb, it could be an adjective. It all depends on the different context. So sometimes when we're given an assignment as a writer, we're not given all of the context. The word set we can kind of interpret based on the context clues. If someone says, I'm going to play a set of tennis, we don't think of that as like settings on a clock or to set a watch. So we understand what it is based off of different definitions. But with a brief or a client request, sometimes we don't get the full context. The client thinks that they've given us everything that we need, but they're interpreting the words differently. Voice is the same thing. There's so much context that goes around it that when something is taken out of context, it loses meaning. And it's subject to different interpretations, and everyone is going to be looking at it differently. We're all going to define the same word differently. We all have personal attachments and emotions that we link to different words. Context is the key. Context is what changes it from chaos to clarity. We need more than most clients think. As writers, it's up to us to get this information and this context from our clients. This is the only way that we're really going to be able to succeed every time. We have to get on the same page and literally define the words exactly the same way as our clients are using them. And as we just saw, there might be as many as 430 different ways to define this. Clarity is key. We often need way more than people think that we do to get this type of clarity. As a writer, it's up to you to find it. Okay, not bad. There's some room to tighten it, but I'm doing this on the fly. You might even say, I'm learning as we go, which is going to be our next voice. Learning as we go is a voice of accessibility. It's someone who's learning new things and learning in public, discovering in public. And they're very often excited by what they found, but there's also some challenges. So it can have a wide variety of tones, but very often the cadence tends to be longer than most sentences. It's because we haven't quite figured out the message and there's a little bit of rambliness. That's the joy of it. That's the beauty of it. So using this fact as a hook for an email and learning as we go voice, it might sound something like this. Did you know that there's a single 3-letter word in English that has more than 430 definitions? It's not you, it's not the, it's not we, which only has 2 letters. It's set, S-E-T. Kind of crazy to think that this one little word can have so many different definitions. But it does. It actually holds the world record for it. I find this fascinating. It's exciting, but it's also a challenge. It could be anything from mindset to a tennis set to setting up a table to set down a book. It can mean anything. There's so many different definitions. You can even have a data set. So it could be a noun, it could be a verb, it can be an adjective. There's so much nuance to it, and the context is everything. Without context, it's pure chaos. And honestly, it's chaos that most brands can't afford, that most clients can't afford. So I understand that there's a lot more that we need to discover here. And now I can kind of see why sometimes we failed in the past. I can see why this is a challenge that needs to be addressed. I can also see why some clients who I've worked with have struggled with this. Now that I see this, I think I would have been better prepared for some of my previous clients had I asked for more clarity around these things. I can see where I've defined words differently than them, and based off those results, I might have been sent back to the keyboard to whip up another draft. It's all part of the process. These are things that you learn as you go further in your career. How even the word sad can mean anything from a little disappointed to maybe a tear in your eye to completely inconsolable. There are so many different definitions around these little words that we think are so obvious. And to us, they are, but to other people, they mean something different. It's important to define this stuff. This is why the need to define your brand voice is so important. By getting it down on paper, by getting it out of your head, by documenting it, everyone can now be aligned on the same page, and you can get copy that sounds like you. Okay, not bad. So actually, I think I dipped into a little bit of Underdog on that. But the fact is, learning as we go and Underdog actually overlap in the circles. So I kind of went into a hybrid voice, and I'm not even sad about it. And the beauty of this is Underdog also overlaps with Friend at the Bar. And I've got a fun story about this one that just popped into my head a minute ago as I was talking about set up. So an email about set in a Friend at the Bar voice might sound something like this. The English language is wonky. There's so many different meanings behind each word that are so easy to misinterpret or just interpret slightly different than the person before you. I remember one time after a hockey game, we were out in the parking lot having a couple of beers, and one of the parents asked their kids to go set up a tent. It was one of these little 10 by 10 pop-ups, a little metal frame with a canvas top, and it was no problem. It shielded us from the sun, we had a great time, and then when it came time to leave, the dad asked the kid to break it down. We were all distracted talking about the game and didn't really notice at the time that the kid had apparently misinterpreted break down into something completely different. Set up, he got. And ironically, the word set has more than 430 different definitions, but breakdown is the thing that he got confused. Because we started hearing thwack, thwack, crash, boom. We turn around and the kid and his friends are taking hockey sticks and literally breaking down the tent by smashing it over and over, hitting it with the hockey sticks until it was this crumpled pile of metal and canvas, completely garbage and trash at this point. And by the time we noticed it, there was nothing we could do but laugh. He didn't break down the tent, he broke the tent down. Silly story, but it just shows how important the details to directions can be. Because we hear words and we think we know what they mean, and very often we do, but we might be choosing the wrong definition. What we mean can sometimes be taken in context, but honestly, the kid didn't misinterpret it wrong, he just misinterpreted it differently. Cost the dad about $50 to get a new tent, but lesson learned. As writers, you can see why sometimes we can get a voice right or wrong, or as a brand, maybe now we understand how important it is to include more instructions in our brand voice guides than we think might be necessary. It's not that the writers are interpreting it wrong, it's that they're interpreting it differently. The nuance, the details, the clarity, this is the stuff that's important. It prevents your brand from having a breakdown, and it prevents your writers from having a breakdown. Okay, that one was kind of fun. I liked it. That's the thing about the 9 voice types. Just by these little changes in understanding if we're leading by authority or accessibility or our outlook, it can make such a difference in our style, so the writers are getting closer and closer each time. And the more information you set up in your voice guide, the more you are set up for success. If you need help getting started, grab the Brand Voice Bundle. It's just $37 and it's going to set forth everything you need for success to avoid all the setbacks. And it'll give you some of the settings that you might need to set up your voice for success. You all set? Go grab it. I'll put the link in the description below, and then you can go jet set to success.